You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right. Hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Phegley. Hello, Orlando as well. This is Andrew Phegley. This is Knightline at Night. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. You can give Chad a call at 407-599-9036 or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can call me, Andrew Phegley, at 386-736-3000, or come visit me at DeLand Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and I will give you a deal. Make sure you say "Go Knights" to me, and you'll get a little bit of a discount. We're taking your calls, 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley at AP_Knightline on Twitter. I got Big Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter, and Roger Phipps at Night Bengal from the Santa Rosa Beach Studios. And you can hear all the rest of our content on NightlineSports.com. It's a mouthful, but I made it all the way through it. Basketball. This is, I guess, what we're going to be talking about the majority of this show. UCF basketball is having some issues. Now 12-8. At least they're still, above 500. We'll give them that. 13-8. They're 13-8. I was looking at Memphis. They're 12-8. So 13-8, 5-6 conference. So not above 500 in conference. Lost last night to Memphis Tigers, 88-60. I was telling Ben here before we went on air that could have been a lot more. There was absolutely no defense. The thing is that I feel with this team, and when I watch them, I feel sad, to be honest with you. That's the emotion that comes over me because we had such high hopes for this team. This team is one of the most talented teams that we've ever had, but one thing is missing. What I believe is missing, or you were supposed to say, Ben, you were supposed to go, Andrew, what's that?
What is missing? What is that?
Heart is missing from this team. Heart and the will to win is missing from this team. And I did not expect that from a Johnny Dawkins team. I did not expect heart to be missing because I think Johnny Dawkins is a guy that speaks with his heart on his sleeve. Every time that you talk to him in a press conference or see him talk in a press conference, he says what he thinks. Yeah. And that's, one of those things. He has been emotional before, all kinds of things, but I just can't imagine a team that he has that doesn't have any heart. I don't know what's gone wrong. I don't know if it's a coaching thing or it's just a team that doesn't care. They're Jekyll and Hyde, like you said. They come out and we beat Memphis earlier in the year. It's not like we can't beat Memphis. I know it's a little different on the road and blah, blah, blah. We don't do well on the road at all, period.
Yeah.
There's something wrong. And I don't know what it is. You're the basketball guy. You were on the team at some point. Maybe you can explain it.
Well, I want to comment on the heart thing first, and I agree with you. And we've talked about, I've said the words player-led intensity all year. When your best players aren't your best leaders, there becomes an issue there. You can go back to who are the three captains on this team. It's Darius Perry, starting point guard. That's great. Mbake Zhang, starting center, so that's also good. And then Levy Renaud, who is on the end of the bench. He never plays. He's been the captain for the last few years. Now, Mbake and Darius, yes, they're key contributors. They're starting players, but they're both transfers.
Yeah.
They're both transfers in the sense that they've only been here for a short period of time. And when I look at players who have been here for a while, who have been recruited by Johnny Dawkins, have been here for 3-4 years at a time, those aren't captains because they don't have the type of intensity or vocal leadership that usually is picked to be captains. They're contributors, but not captains. And I hate to be harsh, but we look at players like Brandon Mahan and Darren Green Jr., who are typically our best players night in and night out from off and on, yes, but some inconsistency there. But unfortunately, there's that intensity that's not coming from those two individuals.
So you're telling me Renaud is a captain?
He has been for the last couple of years. Yeah,
you know
someone
what?
who never plays.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have no idea who he is, and I've never. I mean, I can think in my mind what the rest of these guys look like.
Yeah,
I'd have to click on the picture to look to see what he even looks like. I don't know that. Why is the captain on the bench? That's weird.
Yeah, and
he played 1 minute yesterday.
It's obviously a testament to who he is as a person, that he's been voted by a captain. But typically, I think it actually just displays not necessarily how good of a leader Levy is, which I'm sure he is because he's been voted captain by his teammates.
Yeah.
But it kind of shows a lack of leadership from the players themselves. So they need somebody who's just going to gather the team and just really set them straight when things aren't going well. Change up I
thought maybe CJ
the way they
Walker
things.
would be a guy that would be like that, or Mahan even would be a guy like that, but I guess I don't know. I guess not.
I'll tell you,
the other thing though, I'm going to go here real quick, is the lack of heart coming from the head coach. And I know that this is every time that it wanes, and we have good games and we have bad games and we have like a wave formation, it's the we love Johnny, fire Johnny, the Twitter mentality that happens. Yeah. Is it coming to the point where with a talented roster like this, and you can't go out there and get the job done, the guys like I've said, and I don't know if you agree with the heart thing or not, but it seems like that would come from the head coach, that it's his job to find somebody and to set that person up to make that, you can't make anybody have heart,
right? But
you can instill in your group, look, guys, we need to do this. We need to step up. We need to play every night like we know we can. And I mean, I don't know if this is a staple of Johnny Dawkins' teams. I didn't follow him when he was in Stanford. I know he got fired there.
Yeah.
Is it time to, I mean, this is just a random question, but is it time to move on from Johnny Dawkins? Is this the exact reason why? Is to have a roster like this with recruiting like this and then not be able to produce 13-8. Yeah, that's great. But this team is not going to be a team that goes into the tournament. It's right now when these guys should be peaking and, going into March, the beginning of March, the middle, I guess it's still the 1st of February. There's still time, I guess.
Well, no, you're right. I mean,
but they're going to be so far behind right now that they're going to have to win the tournament and win the American tournament.
Yeah, we don't have enough resume building wins ahead of us. I mean, we have Wichita State and at Houston, which are both going to be tough.
Got destroyed by Houston. Got destroyed by Wichita State.
It's just, and I'll just quickly say about Johnny Dawkins. I mean,
I like the guy.
Obviously, my feelings on Johnny Dawkins. He's a great. I really consider him still to be a great leader of men. I think he's building the program, but it's hard to get around this year and not say that with the talent level we have, because prior to this season and the beginning of this season, I still said this is the most talented roster, top to bottom, that Johnny has ever coached here at UCF, and that's saying a lot considering who was on that 2018 team.
Right.
But it's hard to look at the wins that we've had this year and the losses that we've had this year and kind of go down the line and really at Miami, second game of the year, and the Michigan game are really the two best wins of this year. And with the amount of talent and depth that he has and the weapons that he has on that roster, it's hard not to look at this season and just be like, just kind of shake your head a little bit.
Why? And wonder why and what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I just
a lot of missed opportunities, unfortunately, where we just didn't have enough to pull through. And it especially happens on the road. We are a team that relies on good shooting performances, and it is hard to see those shooting performances on the road when your sight lines are different. What's behind the basket is different. You're not in your own gym with your own ball. Every college basketball team has.
It's the same way
basketballs.
with football.
Yeah,
your sight lines are different in different stadiums.
Right.
Things look farther away than they do, but that's something that you should take care of in shoot around and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's not an excuse. I'm just saying that's how you can live by the three and die by the three, and it all comes down to kind of shot selection within the flow of the game. And when you go on the road at a place that we haven't won ever, except for the Tubby Smith era, we never have won at Memphis. And you go down, what was it? We were down by like 12 early on in the game. Just kind of slept through the first 5 minutes of the game, and you can't come back with the team. The amount, and their record doesn't display the amount of talent that they have on their team. They are long. They've got first round draft picks. And Jalen Duren is going to be a first round draft pick next year.
Darius Perry 1 for 10 on 3-pointers.
1 for 9 on Brandon Mahan, I believe, without looking at it. I believe that was his numbers as well.
1 for 9, yeah.
And you look at Darian Green Jr., I mean
3 of 5.
He was 3 of 5. That's 60%. That's fantastic. But why did he only get 5 shots from the 3-point line? They were guarding him well, but we got to free him up and get him more shots.
Then you have our center
Mbake Jean
leading the scoring for the majority of the game, and I understand, get it to him down there right in front of the basket, and he puts it in.
We needed the inside presence, but man,
it's hard to watch. Yeah. It's really hard to watch,
we started out the second half on an 8-0 run, brought it within 1, but the last 10 minutes of the game, it just kind of all fell apart.
Never led this game.
They started hitting shots, and we just couldn't recover from it. And it was, and I think I think Johnny Dawkins would tell you the most disappointing thing about this game for him is giving up 88 points. I don't care if you're on the road. I don't care if you're going up against a team that as talented as Memphis. Giving up 88 points for this team with the defensive mentality that they should have is a tough putt.
Yeah, Roger, I'm sorry. The first segment is almost over, and you haven't even got to talk yet. I'm sorry. This was a little crazy.
No, it's all good, man. You're right about the heart piece of it. That's in all sports, right? And we've seen that several times with this team where it just felt like they didn't want it. And, they were, look at the Cows games, right? So the Cows game that they won, they weren't in it. This game that they won this past week, they were really into it. And then that translates to the numbers themselves too. And, as we get into the next segment, the next segments and start talking about what the numbers look like, it was truly a tale of two basketball games.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it's Jekyll and Hyde. But that was Ben's description, I believe, in the first place. But I just think that this comes from the top down. I don't think that there's any excuse for having a roster like this, for having the transfers that we have, to not have a good team this year. Yes, still 13-8 overall, but 5-6 in conference. Conference play is what's really important. I just feel like if this team does not make the tournament this year, and it doesn't look like it's going to, I think it's time for Johnny to move on, in my opinion. I know he's probably the right guy to take us to the Big 12, but not with a team like this. This team would get destroyed in the Big 12. It wouldn't even be funny.
Let's dive into more of that the rest of the show.
We will, yeah. We're going to come back and we're going to talk a lot more about this. It could get interesting.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, back to Nightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, Andrew Phegley back with you here on Nightline at Night, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw. We were talking a little bit earlier in the first segment about UCF basketball losing 88-60 to the Memphis Tigers last night, and I brought up the point, if this team does not make the tournament, that I feel that it's probably should probably be the end of Johnny Dawkins. And I know that, I mean, you have to understand that I like the guy. It's nothing like that, but we just need something to resurrect this program. I think at this point, it's just too weird. This team, with the talent that they have, should be going out there night after night and at least being competitive. And in this game and a couple other games, not even competitive. Ben, I know that you probably have a differing opinion on that, and that's perfectly fine. We'll talk through it.
Not necessarily. Well, a little bit different, slightly different. Obviously, again, I don't need to caveat I really like Johnny Dawkins as a person and as a coach. I think he's a great leader. That being said, when you look at this season and the big opportunities that we have, all the, let's call it hype before this season was kind of predicated on the opportunities that we were going to have and being able to get some big wins, kind of notch those resume building wins going into March. And unfortunately, when you look at quad one wins, which is kind of how the net rankings work right now, we've had 6 opportunities and we're 1-5 in those opportunities. The second game of the year, the win at Miami, is the only quad one win we have. So we've lost against Houston and Auburn. I mean, top 5 teams, not too concerned there if we lose to Houston and Auburn. But SMU, Memphis, Wichita State, those 3 opportunities, were ones that we would hope that we could pull down, and they really would have could have turned around our season. Who knows? So, and then you look at the game last night against Memphis was a quad one opportunity, right? And we just didn't have enough against a team as big, kind of fast as they are, and as good defensively as Memphis is. And you'd like to combat that with some better defense on our end, and they made some big shots and we missed a lot of them. I mean, it's kind of I hate to be kind of John Madden of basketball there, but it's kind of the way it goes. I mean, it was very much that kind of tale of tape. And so I'll say I would modify what you're talking about with Johnny Dawkins to a simple statement that I would like to give him one more season, the season before we go into the Big 12, to see if we can take a big step next year, especially with the best recruiting class that we've had ever coming in next season with Taylor Hendricks especially. But I think Darius Johnson in year 2 will also turn into that leader that I talked about in the first segment that we need.
Darius Johnson.
Johnson,
yeah,
yes.
Okay. All right. Roger, you got anything to say about this really quickly? 1 minute.
Yeah, just real quick for me. I agree with and echo the sentiments of Ben as far as Johnny and you, as Johnny as a person. I actually had a discussion recently on another podcast about this topic. And the other part is not just this season, but what we do is we are gearing up for the Big 12, which is the number one basketball conference in the country. So, for me, I don't think things line up very well for Johnny, unfortunately, in his future at UCF.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, it just depends on what happens the rest of the year, I think. And I hate to do that. And I hate to say that. Johnny's such a nice guy, but the AD that's here right now did not hire him. And that AD, made a huge splash with Gus Malzahn. And maybe with the last year before they go into the Big 12, maybe he would want to make a big splash with somebody that really does great at recruiting or can motivate these guys or whatever. All right, we're going to talk a lot more about this once we come back from this break, and we will talk to you very soon here on Knightline. If you haven't figured it out yet, I love Tijuana Flats. I would love them even if they weren't a partner with us on the Knightline Sports Network. They have all kinds of great Tex-Mex food, and it's fresh, by the way. Made to order burritos, tacos, enchiladas, chimichangas, quesadillas, bowls, nachos, and taco salads. And if you haven't tried the queso, you are completely missing out. It is the best queso that I've ever had in my life. Absolutely hands down. And the sauce bar that they have, everything from wild to mild in there. Absolutely awesome stuff. Not only do I love the food at Tijuana Flats, but I love the company, a UCF-born company. And they give back to the community with the Justin Queso Foundation. So head to your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. Hey Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley, live from the Denver Team Studios. I was like, what am I going to say? Brought to you by Chad Bar Law, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. You can give Chad a call at 407-599-9036 or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can call me, Andrew Phegley, at 386-736-3000, or come visit me at DeLand Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and I will hook you up, especially if you say go Knights. We're taking your calls at 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326, or use the open mic feature in the WDB app. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley at AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Big Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter, and Roger Phipps at Night Bengal from the Santa Rosa Beach Studios. And you can find all the rest of our content on NightlineSports.com. We've been talking basketball pretty much all show. 88-60 loss to the Memphis Tigers last night. And it has kind of lit a fire a little bit. And maybe the seat is getting a little hot for Johnny Dawkins on that, situation there with the head coaching job at UCF. Most talented team probably ever at UCF, most talented roster, and going out and getting double-digit losses and everything else. Even a big loss to a Tier 4 team, which was a really big deal. And that far outweighs, I think, our wins with the Tier 1 teams. The Tier 4 loss to USF, the Cows, USF, we like to call them, was horrible. I mean, that should have never happened. One of the worst teams in college basketball. Never should have happened.
Yeah, that was by far the worst loss of the season, and we're still. I mean, that was a number of weeks ago, and it still stands out as just the worst performance of the season. And it kind of goes back to what we talked about, where if you're a player that puts on a UCF uniform and you can't get up to go play, you can't get yourself up to go play at USF, then there's just a little bit of there's too much nonchalance going on in the attitude of some of the players on our team, where everything was going wrong, but it kind of doesn't matter when you're that much better than a team like USF, and they shot the lights out that night, but still it's our worst loss of the season, and it's not even close.
Yeah. And I'm not that big of a basketball fan. I mean, I don't have experience playing basketball and those things, but I can watch this stuff and see that things are not right. Something is wrong. From the beginning, I said it was a heart issue. Me just turning on, and I know a little bit about basketball. Obviously I talk about it. I've talked about it for years, but it's just, I can just tell something is not right with this team that is uber talented, that's going on out there.
Yeah. And what we saw, and just that, what you just described, though, I mean, it does come from a genuine place, though, because you are somebody who have played college athletics. You played football in college, and you've are a very big sports fan in general. And whether or not you know the technicalities of basketball as you watch the games, you can see when a team is really showing the effort and intensity. And I'll just say one last thing, because I want to make sure that Roger gets in on this show. But I'll say one last thing about just kind of the fan mentality towards Johnny Dawkins is where I get a little bit defensive, because what a lot of the fans talk about, and you guys are welcome to call in on this show and talk about
it's a call-in show, by the way, guys.
But what the fans talk about a lot is his demeanor on the sidelines, and that's where you kind of lose me a little bit of the argument against Johnny Dawkins, because you don't have to be some crazy lunatic on the sideline to show that you really care about this, because and that's just a little bit where I get defensive, because I've been a little bit closer to the program than others. But yeah, I think his demeanor is just fine. It's just, when you have a team this talented, the results need to be there. And unfortunately for us this year, it has not, like, those big opportunities have been losses instead of wins.
Yeah, and all this stuff gets pinned on the head coach. It's the same way in football. It's the same way in most sports. If your team that you recruited, that you got here, doesn't perform, it's on you. I hate for it to be like that. Roger, you have anything? I'm going to give the floor. The mic is yours, Roger.
The mic is mine.
We have talked the entire time. You've hardly talked. I apologize.
It's all good. I mean, Ben has a lot of insight into this because he played the game as far as the heart aspect of it, right? But, as an outside observer, having not played on the floor, having played basketball, though, and any sport, I mean, played football too. And at the end of the day, folks, they're either in it or they're not. And a lot of these games, they haven't been. And I think there's frustration building in the team as well. I mean, CJ Walker is a perfect example. You saw in a game where he was, acting out. You saw in this past game against the Cows that he was acting out as well. So I feel like we see them as underperforming, I think they see themselves as underperforming as well this year. And if that continues to happen because they knew what kind of team and roster they have, it doesn't bode well for the rest of the season. I could see them slumping, and you see that when they're playing against difficult opponents. Wichita State, I know they started 0-4 in conference, but they have won, I think, 4 out of their last 5 or something like that, and they're coming on strong again, and we're going to be playing them again. So if they don't have their heads screwed on straight, this is going to be very, very difficult. We've been living and dying by the 3, and our inside presence just hasn't been there. And when you look at the stats, whether it's being aggressive and rebounding, whether it's turnovers, whether it's anything else, we have kind of settled in. Earlier on in the season, we were able to get into the paint. We've settled into, basically using the entire shot clock and then settling for a 3. And when you do that and you're not on, you're not going to win. And until we facilitate that inside presence or scheme for it or whatever we're doing, we're not going to win consistently. And that was the difference between a team like Houston and us.
I think that's such a great point, Roger, because what I see too from a basketball perspective is that we go into isolation ball once we start getting, like, once 2 or 3 things go wrong for us in a row, we forget about the preparation that they've had for this game, that I know that they've had for in any particular game, and they just go into this get mine attitude. I'm going to go ahead and get mine now, or I'm going to try to take this team on my back, and there's no more flow to the offense. I could, since I'm so, watching these games so intently, there was multiple times last night with my 8-year-old son sitting next to me, and I'm like, oh, he's just going to take this on his own. Like, I'm not going to mention who I'm talking about at this sport, but I'm like, yeah, he's not passing that ball, even though the flow of the offense is over. I was like, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Nope. And he jacks up a 3. Like, they get into isolation mode. They put it all on themselves as opposed to continuously flowing through their offense, which is the only times we've ever had success here. When the shots aren't falling, you got to either do something different, make adjustments, go more to the inside and play a little more inside out, or you have to make sure that you get more crisp passes and get a better flow to the offense. So you're getting more open shots as opposed to contested isolation jumpers, which is unfortunately where we fall in. So I agree with you. The attitude towards when we get down, it suffers in all aspects of the game, our defense, our rebounding, but it also suffers in shot selection as well.
So my question is, with that, who is that on? Is that on the players themselves to do that, or is that on the bench and the coach to do that?
So what you saw in the second half yesterday, especially when it kind of was teetering in the balance, like Johnny called his last time out of the game with 6.5 minutes left in the game. So there's only so many times that you can, like, stop the action and pull your players aside and say, hey guys, this is what we need to do. Now, obviously none of us are in those huddles to know exactly what was said, but yeah, I mean, they have to be better prepared for that. Then I say that I'm not doubting their preparation. I'm saying that they have to remember their preparation a little bit better when things go wrong in the game. So I'm not going to put it all on the coaching staff. I'm going to balance it more towards the players just needing to remember the game plan and make adjustments themselves through the flow of the game.
Yeah. But isn't it the head coach's job to control the players?
No doubt.
And to remind the players what to do and to prepare the players and inspire the players or inspire them whichever way it works. I mean, sometimes it works being, nasty and a mean guy to them. Sometimes you have to be their best friend. Whatever it is, that's the head coach's responsibility. So that's why, for me, knowing the talent that is on the team, having you explained the talent that's on the team to me, I don't know how many times, me not really understanding, who they are, who the players are, and all that stuff. That's why, for me, I put it on the head coach. Mm-hmm. And I hate to come down on Johnny Dawkins. I really do. I like the guy, but we've got 7 games left. 7 games or versus Wichita State's, versus Tulsa, versus at Houston. That's going to be ugly. They're number 6. Versus East Carolina, versus Cincinnati, at Tulane, at Tulsa. 2 of those games, at least, could be a major whooping. That's the easiest way I can say it. Wichita State and Houston. Who knows what's going to happen?
Cincinnati and Tulane are going to be tough.
And
Both
Cincinnati and at
tough.
Tulane were the other ones that I was looking at.
Yeah.
Tulane is nothing to, especially at Tulane. It's just a weird environment anyway, that little arena. So it's not looking good here, I don't think. And then there's the tournament. And who knows who Jekyll or Hyde comes out in that tournament. Maybe the guys realize by that time, hopefully, and can do something crazy. And I don't know. I think that's what it's going to take, though.
Right now, with 8 games left, though, we are have a losing record in conference
7.
because we're like relatively middle now. We were middle of the pack before that. There is opportunities, I guess. I'm hoping that next week, or a couple weeks from now, I should say, we're talking about a totally different, we have a much, happier conversation. But that we're going to have to see it from this team moving forward. They definitely have some opportunities to notch some big wins ahead of them. If they can beat Wichita State this week, that'll be the first time we've ever beaten that team, and that game is at home.
Do you remember at the beginning of the season where we were picked in the okay? Well, we have to take a break anyway. We'll come back with that. We'll figure that out where we were picked in the beginning of the season to finish. All right, we'll be right back on Knightline at Night.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
Welcome. This is a promo for the Take a Left at Albuquerque podcast, new to the Knightline Sports Network. You should listen to it. I say things like this. We need to stop blaming Jerry because we would do the exact same thing if we owned the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Do you know how much fun it is to own the Dallas Cowboys? My guests will say things sometimes like this.
It's the Lord of the Flies thing that happens when they don't understand that things are wrong, spoiler alert, until Piggy dies.
Lord of the Flies has been out for like 100 years. I don't even know.
Sorry to everyone at home who I spoiled the book for. A book's been out for like 90 years or something.
And sometimes, rarely though, I'll say really stupid things like this. If they don't make it out of the West and the Raptors get to the finals, I will go on either this show or whoever's show and say that Kawhi Leonard is overrated because I have too much evidence of it. New episodes drop every Friday with me and some of my good friends right here on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back with you on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law. We have come to the time in our show where we do our Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Sometimes during the football season, we do score predictions, but now we're back to hot takes. Hot takes can be a little bit, spicy and off. So Tijuana Flats is the perfect place for that. Welcome to the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Visit TijuanaFlats.com for takeout or delivery, or visit your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. All right, thank you very much to Tijuana Flats for helping us out to sponsor this segment. Tijuana Flats is awesome, by the way. If you want fresh Mex food, it is one of the best places. It's in your neighborhood. Go check them out if you haven't. I go every week. Ben, I don't know how much you go to Tijuana Flats, but this is your chance for your Tijuana Flats hot take of the week.
I love Tijuana Flats. I go there often. I don't really have much of a hot take this week. I'm going to say the last 2 games Brandon Mahan has not started, and I'm going to say that he is not going to start the rest of the season.
Okay. All right, Roger.
All right, so for me and my Tijuana Flats hot take of the week, I'm going to say this UCF Knights basketball team will finish the season 3 games over 500 for the season. And considering they're 13-8 right now, that's bleak.
Okay. Well, you probably can imagine what I'm going to say here because I've pretty much been talking about it all show long. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it right here. I'm going to say we lose 4 out of the 7 last games. Wichita State, Houston, Tulane. At Tulane could be interesting. East Carolina could be interesting. Cincinnati could be interesting. Anyway, 4 of those last 7 games we lose, and Johnny Dawkins is out at the end of the season. Who knows what's going to happen during the tournament? Maybe he can, fix it at that point. It's too late at that point, though. In the American tournament, you'd have to win that thing hands down. You'd have to.
If the first part of your hot take is true, we ain't winning anything in the conference tournament.
I don't think so either. Yeah. So I don't think anything is going to change overnight magically to get this thing better and back on track. It is definitely off of the tracks at this point. So, yeah, I think that unfortunately, I think Johnny Dawkins is done at the end of the season, and hopefully we can, get something going before heading into the Big 12, because that's going to be another story altogether. And we do not want to go into a new conference and be the laughing stock. We just don't want to. And, it's
along with the conference games, they've got 8 more opportunities. So I should say the conference tournament, you're guaranteed 1 game, right? So that you got 8 games left.
8 games left.
So you got 8 opportunities to put a stamp on this season, finish it strong. If it doesn't mean NCAA tournament, it might mean NIT, and we'll see what happens. But
all righty. Well, that's going to do it for us for this week. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next week, same time, same station, and go Knights.
Charge on.